So in question 2, there's part A and part B. I'm going to give you a few seconds now to pause the video and have a go at this, and you can see already if you answer this correctly you will be on an E grade, which is not too bad for a few minutes work. Have a go. Okay, I'm going to zoom in slightly here, so let's zoom in. And you can see that there is a rectangle of 3.6 meters width and 3 meters height, but the paving slabs in the question are 60 centimeters. Now whenever you've got a question with meters and centimeters, similarly pounds and pence or different units, you always want to be converting those units. So I'm going to zoom out and we're going to have a go at answering this question. Now, I always find it much easier to answer a question by doing a diagram, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to draw this rectangle here. I'm going to trying my best to do it as neatly as possible. And I'm going to put in, instead of 3.6 meters, I find it always easier to do things in the unit that doesn't give me decimals. Now, I could convert this to 0.6 meters, but I don't like working in decimals. I prefer working in integers, in whole numbers. So I'm going to convert this into centimeters. Now 1 meter is 100 centimeters, so therefore 3.6 meters is going to be 360 centimeters. And so I'm going to write that down in centimeters. Similarly, 3 meters will be 300 centimeters. So I'm going to write that down, 300 centimeters. Okay. Now that's the unit sorted. Now we can see on here that if that's 60 centimeters, each paving slab is 60 centimeters. If I just look at this side here, I can work out that if I put the paving slabs end to end, then I would be able to fit 6 lots of 60 into 360. So I can fit 6 paving slabs along this side. So if I do that with lines, and I try and get these as even as possible, which is not too easy, but I try my best. And that's roughly equal. I can see that I can fit 6 paving slabs along the side here. Now looking at this 300, I can figure out that there are 5 60s in 300. So I can fit 5 paving slabs down this side. So let's do 5 paving slabs down this side. And try and do it evenly, but I've not done a very good job. Okay, so imagine these are even. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can fit 5 down this side and 6 down this side. And you can already see the paving slabs. Now you could just count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But that's going to take you too long and you might miscount and get the wrong answer. If there's 6 across and 5 up, then the only thing I need to do is do 5 times 6. So I could write that down. 5 times 6. 5 times 6, which equals 30. So there are going to be 30 paving slabs. 30 paving slabs in total. So if it says, well, okay, I've got 32, or he's got 32 paving slabs, and we've got 30 there, and it says, does he buy enough? Then the answer could be, yes, he has 2. Let's just extend this a bit. He has 2 left over. Now you don't need to always, let's get rid of that, you don't need to always say too much in your answer, but sometimes on the mark scheme it penalises you for not drawing a conclusion. Now this doesn't have an asterisk next to it, which means there's no quality of written communication marks, which means that you probably won't get an extra mark for saying he has 2 left over and showing off a little bit that you can work that out, but it's always best to write too much than too little. The second question doesn't actually have much to do with the first question, it's just a simple multiplying. If each one of them costs that and he has 32, then how much will they cost? Now as before, I don't like working in decimals and I try and avoid it if I can. So I could put this in pence, 863 pence times 32, which is what we're going to do with the answer. With the two numbers, as we multiply them. Now, there are loads of different ways of doing this. The simplest way to do it that I've found a lot of my students find the easiest is to do this method here, grid multiplication. And what we have, and let's switch to my handwriting. Okay, so what we have is 863, so it becomes 863, and we've got 32, so we're timesing 32. So I need to multiply each of these pairs together. Okay, don't forget this is non-calculator, so we've got to do this the long way. So with this one I do 3 times 8, which is 24, and there's 1, 2, 3 zeros, so 1, 2, 3 zeros. Here we do 6 times 3, which is 18, and we've got 2 zeros, so 1, 2. Here we've got 3 times 30, so 3 times 3, which is 9, and then add the extra 0. And here we've got 2 times 8, which is 16, and then add the 2 zeros. Then here we've got 6 times 2, which is 12, and add the 0 from the 60. And finally 3 times 2, which is 6. And I'm going to try my best to put these in a nice order. So 1, 2, 3, so that we can add them up. So 18, 0, 0, 90, run out of space if I'm not careful, 0, 0, 120, and 6. We should just have enough space here. So we're going to add all these up together. Now you could put adds next to each of them, but I'm just going to put an add there. So we're adding this column, which is 6. We're adding this column. Now 9 plus the 2 is 11, so I put the 1 down here, and I put the unit, which is 1, up here. Now some people put it on top, it doesn't actually matter. This we do the 8 plus the 6, which is 14, add the 1, which is 15, then add this 1 down here, which is 16. Okay, so carry the 1, and then 6. And then we've got 4 plus 1 plus 1, which is 6, plus the 1 there, which is 7. And then the 2 doesn't have anything to add to, so it just becomes there. Now you've got to be very careful here. The units it wants is in pounds, so you need to convert this back into pounds at the end. So my actual answer will be 276.16. So £276 and 16 pence. Okay, so now I've gone through that. Let's have a look at the actual mark scheme for this. Let's just clear that. Okay, so the mark scheme says that for part A, it needs to see the number 30, and if it sees the number 30, it's happy, and we have written down the number 30. It also wants to see in the working out 360 divided by 60, which we did, which was 6, and 300 divided by 60, which was 5. Now we implied that from the diagram, so we would be absolutely fine. Now there are longer explanations about different ways you can do it. I mean here they've multiplied the two together and worked out the area of it. That to me is really complicated to do without having a calculator. I think the method that we've gone through is by far the easiest method to answer those questions without the use of a calculator. Okay, and let's have a look at the second part of the mark scheme. So with this one, let's just restore it to the right resolution. So there are different methods doing it down here. There's the column method, which is absolutely fine if you've used that. There's the Chinese multiplication method, although you might know it by a different name, where you have the diagonal lines. And there's the grid method, which we've just used. So we've paired them up and then added up all those 6 there. It doesn't actually matter which method you do, as long as you're comfortable with the method. I've always said to all my students that you pick the method that you've had the most success with. I personally like using this method. I've always used it. I'm very, very good at it. But some people, especially if they've not got the neatest of handwriting, start getting into real problems using this method, especially for this calculation where there's going to be a lot of lines to it afterwards.